British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is back at work after recovering himself from COVID-19. He emerged from 10 Downing Street today to address the United Kingdom for the first time since he was released from hospital. His message, well, it was one of hope, but also of caution.
We are now beginning to turn the tide. If this virus were a physical assailant, an unexpected and invisible mugger, which I can tell you from personal experience it is, then this is the moment when we have begun together to wrestle it to the floor. And so it follows that this is the moment of opportunity. This is the moment when we can press home our advantage. It is also the moment of maximum risk.
Johnson says while the UK has made progress, it is still too dangerous to ease the lockdown measures currently in place. He's asking people to be patient and to continue to follow the rules in order to prevent a second outbreak. CBC's Margaret Evans is standing by in London with more on this story. And Margaret, more than 20,000 people have died from coronavirus in the UK. Boris Johnson, he knows well how dangerous it is. He spent 3 days in intensive care. What stood out for you from his full speech today?
Well, it was a very carefully calibrated speech. I mean, clearly he wants to deliver the message that he is fit and healthy again and able to take over the reins of the fight against the coronavirus after his own personal battle with it. He, as he tends to do, invoked the British wartime spirit. He said, "It is the greatest challenge to the United Kingdom since the end of the Second World War." And he also spoke of the sadness that he knows many people in the United Kingdom are still going through as they lose loved ones to the virus. He didn't mention numbers because they're pretty staggering. As you pointed out, 20,000, those are hospital deaths. The Office of National Statistics here estimates that the real number of deaths is 40% higher than that when you take into account nursing home deaths and deaths in the community. So that's not something that he wanted to get into too much. At the same time, he was insisting that that they are tackling what he called the peak. He himself has come under a lot of criticism early on for accused of not acting soon enough to lock things down, failing to give any importance to testing and tracing. So he's trying to say that this is a crucial moment, but that the government does have it under control. At the same time, he's facing calls from within his own conservative backbenchers to actually ease up on the lockdown because of the pain that it's causing to the economy. But he asked for patience on that, and he gave a pretty firm reply. Here's what he had to say.
So I know it is tough, and I want to get this economy moving as fast as I can, but I refuse to throw away all the effort and the sacrifice of the British people and to risk a second major outbreak and huge loss of life and the overwhelming of the NHS.
So he's clearly not ready to go down that road yet, but I think we will see more discussion down the road about the future, if you like, because there is some unease over that.
And how are people there in London reacting to Johnson's speech?
Well, it seems to be favorably thus far. I mean, he has had public opinion behind the decision on the lockdown from the beginning. I mean, here, some schools even closed down before they were ordered to by the governments, as I was mentioning, saying that they didn't feel the government was moving quickly enough. And the last review, I mean, we're in, you lose track. We're in week 6 of the lockdown, the start of week 6. The last review that the government had while Johnson was in hospital was, the opinion polls were that 90% of the public were in favor of that. And they seem to be positive opinion today as well. Here are a couple of reactions on the streets in London.
I do actually commend the UK government in many ways in terms of the lockdowns that we have had, and I guess not rushing back to normal too soon.
We haven't got through it yet, and we really don't want a big wave or a second, whatever they're calling it, a reburst of going back up to another peak. We don't need that at all.
That seems to be the consensus here for now. Whether they can hold on to it is some concern. Over the weekend, you saw a few more people out on the streets, transit numbers going up again. So I think you'll see the government hammering home method. You have to still stay inside, but you will also see them at least starting to talk about what the future might look like down the road, because we're starting to see countries like Spain and Italy going ahead with exiting the lockdown. And also here in the United Kingdom, the Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon released her plan for discussion, asking for public and professional input into how to ease the lockdown when it comes. Message being that it's okay to talk about it, even if they're not anywhere near easing the lockdown right now.
Thanks for that, Margaret. CBC's Margaret Evans in London.